morning. I hope everybody's doing well. Had a good weekend. Wanted to stop by and just have a little chat. I was thinking about a conversation I had with a friend recently. We were talking about, especially with Valentine's just passing, how um, so many people are starting their children off with romantic relationships very early. A lot of people like elementary school, like first, second grade, these little kids are talking about all the little boyfriends they've had and breaking up and in a relationship. And, with in our job, we deal with a lot of people in abusive relationships. We deal with a lot of broken relationships. We deal with a lot of emotional baggage and issues that come about because most of the time someone has abused someone or someone has hurt someone. And so, in our minds, the very best thing we can do is teach our children um, how to be in a relationship, how to be a good partner in a relationship, how to take care of people. But our opinion is, especially when they're younger, instead of pushing them into the romantic realm, more of friendships. And I printed off a few things I wanted to share with you um, about, like, if you should be encouraging your children into boyfriend, girlfriend at a very young age. So, some of the reasons that people really think you should kind of avoid actively encouraging that. One is emotional readiness or emotional maturity. Um, and I know it's a lot of pretend at that age, but you would be surprised by the time you get to fifth, sixth grade, it gets a lot more prevalent and they think of it more serious, especially if they're not the same age. And by the time it gets to junior high, it's really hard, and high school is a whole nother ballgame. But there's a lot of feelings in relationships, a lot of complex feelings, figuring out what love is, and then getting confused between love and lust when all the hormones hit. Jealousy is huge. There's so much girl drama, and a lot of times it is over jealousy. Um, Attraction, kind of knowing, what it is that attracts you to someone. But a lot of these feelings and emotions put a lot of pressure on our kids. And they may not really be prepared for that at a young age. So that's, one big reason. Um, and cognitively, they're not developed mentally in a way that can handle any kind of relationship. And it kind of puts it, they start thinking that they have to have a girlfriend or they have to have a boyfriend or they're not worthy or they're not as good as everybody else. There's something wrong with them. And so I think instead it's good to encourage our children that they don't need someone else to complete them. That's a theme in some of the romantic movies. You complete me. No, you're a complete person on your own. Um, Someone else doesn't complete you, they complement you. There's a difference. Focusing on friendship is really good and healthy relationship skills. Um, Communication. Oh my gosh, that would be great to work with them. I try to, unless it's escalated to a certain level, I try to let my kids work out things on their own with their friends, learn how to communicate. If you've got questions, if you're wondering why somebody said something or why somebody's acting in a certain way, go talk to them. Not texting, because it's really difficult to get the inflection from the written word that you get from a verbal word. But focusing on friendship, um, and learning appropriate boundaries. That is a really big lesson that we need to teach very early. And as a parent, sometimes we don't even realize that we're not teaching that appropriately, because if you ever go to like Christmas with family that you don't see often or some kind of family reunion, and maybe older relatives that your kids really aren't around and not comfortable with and don't know, and you're like, oh, go give Aunt Sally a kiss, or, you know, go sit in, Uncle whoever's lap. And no, we should not do that. If a child does not want a kiss, if a child does not want a hug, um, then we should respect that boundary for them. Because if we go ahead and make them do those things now, then they're going to be more easily told what they have to do at a later age. Um, and just at the young age, too, they want to fit in so bad, and they want this boyfriend, girlfriend somehow in their mind, it validates them. But we really need to help them not be in a relationship just to be in a relationship. It's kind of like I tell my kids when we go shopping. If it's not something that just really, really you don't want to go home without, not just because you like it, but something that's needed and you will cherish it, don't buy it just because you got money in your pocket and you want to buy something. It's the same thing. Don't date someone just because they're there at the moment and you want to date someone. Make sure it's a relationship that's adding something to your life. Um, it'd be very easy for them to be manipulated later on in life if they're dating just to be dating. It would be really, really good to start working with them on independence, self esteem. A lot of times, if you encourage them to get in some type of a romantic relationship very early, then they end up focusing on that person and they don't really explore their own identity and they don't grow individually necessarily. Um, and that peer pressure, oh my gosh, peer pressure is just hard on children. And we want to try to give them the skills to be strong, independent people where that doesn't affect them as much. Of course, media, there's so many. I'm really surprised how many really young children already have phones, cell phones, and social media access. That's so dangerous. And there's a reason that social media and advertisements, even TV, the ads and things, they're meant to sell things or to control your thoughts. So we need to be spending time with our kids and instilling in them our values and not letting them be raised by the world. Let's see. Encouraging romantic relationships early can sometimes blur the lines of personal independence. That's right. We need them to know their personal boundaries before they ever are interested in another person. Um, and your developmental milestones, really relationships, romantic relationships should be later stages of development where they are prepared to handle all the complex emotions that come with that. According to this author, elementary age children benefit most from focusing on self growth, personal growth, friendships, and navigating the world in an age appropriate way. When they're ready in adolescence, then you can explore romantic relationships, helping them to be comfortable with themselves, growing them to be strong people who love themselves. Um, unless you like yourself, it's going to be really hard to find someone who really likes you appropriately. You will be more apt to be taken advantage of, and that's really hard. So, and sometimes as parents, we don't really think things through. We do some things cute. It's cute to have, this little 7 or 8 year old boy bring a bouquet of flowers to a 7 or 8 year old little girl. Those things. It's cute for us. And I guess everybody has a different viewpoint. And what we do, seeing the results that come from people who are not in healthy relationships, who don't really have good self-esteem, they don't know themselves, they don't have good boundaries, and they've been hurt both physically and emotionally. we would encourage you to avoid encouraging romantic relationships until later adolescence. Um, and it's against the grain of society, but most things that society is pushing are not the best choices. So, anyway, just my thoughts. I just wanted to drop in, chat with you a little bit. I hope everyone has a great day and just happy Monday.